There was a village. In that village, many people used to travel, and there was only one road to travel in that village. And one day it happens that somebody brought big stone and kept in the middle of the road, and nobody could pass. But people, instead of removing the stone, they began to pass from the sidewise. And it went more than a month. And one day king was passing by and he saw. And he was puzzled in seeing people's unwisdom and also people's lack of understanding why the stone was kept there. Then one day, the king said, let me see for a few days what they will do. So he was sending one servant to see every day to the stone what will happen. And nobody touched that stone for these few days. And one day, the king said, let me put some goals underneath of the stone and see whether they will do something or not. So by the help of his soldiers, he removed the stone and put underneath gold, and again he put back the stone. And still, few months went, nobody touched. Then one day he said to his soldiers, go and remove the stone and take the gold what is underneath and divide among yourself. And the soldiers went and they removed the stone and they found the treasure which is gold underneath it. Then they took and they divided. And whoever passed that way, when they saw that there was gold, they regretted it because they thought to themselves that if we could have done something or we could have given our energy, today we could have been a rich person. And in that way, they miss to become rich. And today's reading, it shows that everyone wants treasure in life. Everyone. Nobody can say that I don't want. And Solomon wanted only one treasure, that is wisdom. He didn't search for richness or he didn't search for wealth, but he searched for wisdom. And God gave not only wisdom, but he gave him wealth and richness. Because he was not searching something, wealth, for his own sake, but for the sake of the people. That is why he was bestowed more than what he needed. And Solomon is teaching us today that wisdom is necessary for us. Without wisdom, our life is useless because we cannot go which direction we're supposed to go. Always we choose different direction and we get fed up. And to discern the will of God, to discern what God wants, we need wisdom. Always. Without wisdom, we cannot move in God's path. Towards God, we cannot move. Always our direction will be opposite side. Because we are looking for God, but at the same time, without wisdom, we cannot achieve. And that is what Solomon is teaching, that we need wisdom. If we have wisdom, we know where to go and how to go, where to search. And that is very essential for us to find wisdom. And the second reading is emphasizing that if we love God, then everything works. Everything works for the good. Those who love God, for them everything works good. Means everything is happening is for the good. Can we accept that? Can we accept or believe that everything happening in our life is for the good? If our parents beat us, do we accept that this beating is for the good? Do we accept that if the wife scolds when we drink and come is for the good? Do we believe or accept that if financially we are in crisis is working for the good? Can we accept everything? For us it's very difficult. For us it's difficult at times. Because it says, those who love. Love means not only one day loving, or 2 days loving, or 3 days loving. All the time, if we love God, then we can accept and we can believe that whatever is happening in our life is for the good. Because whatever God allows in our life to happen, He can bring something good from it. Even it is something bad thing happens to us, He can bring something good out of it. But for us, it's very difficult how God can bring out something good out of bad. He knows. That is why He allows. So, second reading is saying that everything will work good only those who love God. And that is why if we don't love God, then we will always get frustration, disappointment, will get angry and upset. And by doing this one, we are neither becoming good. We are becoming worse. We are becoming worse. By getting upset or angry, and that anger we keep in our heart, do you think that that anger will help us to become good? No. That is why Jesus is saying, love God, and you will see everything is working good. Because I will work in your life wonderful things. And sometimes it's beyond our understanding, because if we don't have wisdom, we will not understand what God is working in us and how God is working in us. That is why wisdom is very important to really understand how God is working, how God is doing things in our life, to discern that it is work of God that is happening in our life. Can we give up everything to find something? Can we give up everything to find something? Can we give up everything to find something? Can we sacrifice our time to find something? Can we sacrifice our energy to find something? Can we give up many things to find something? And it is not something, but someone, to find someone. God gave His energy to find us. God gave His time to find us. God gave His only Son to find us. And for God, we are His treasure. And is God our treasure? Are we giving up something to find God in our life? Are we giving up? Are we giving up something to find God in our life? And St. Augustine says, my heart is restless until it rests in you. So why our hearts are restless? We have jobs, we have money, we have house, we have cars, but still our hearts are restless. Why? If you ask, if I have house and I have this and that, I will be happy, he says. Then after, even if he gets, he is not happy, he wants more. He wants more and more. Even sometimes for us, we want always more and more. We are not happy with what we have, because our hearts are restless. And it will never rest. It will never rest until it rests in God. Because God has made our heart in such a way that our heart has to long only for Him. Only for Him. And it will never rest until we find Him. It will never rest. How much money we have, money cannot give us rest. How much wealth we have, the wealth can never give us rest. Because our heart is always longing for God. Because God made us and we are longing to return back to Him. And until and unless we return to Him, our heart will never rest. Never rest. Even we are sick, even we are okay, but never rest our heart. And that is why it's important that what is our treasure? Is God our treasure, or money is our treasure, or wealth is our treasure, or beauty is our treasure? What is our treasure? If a treasure, what we think cannot give us rest, then that is not our treasure. Sometimes many treasure we make. This is for me, this is treasure. But we give everything to find that treasure. But that treasure will never give us happiness. The gold has no happiness to give. The richness has no happiness in itself to give. The wealth has no happiness to give. Only Jesus Himself is happiness, and that is why He can give us happiness. So that is why St. Augustine understood that only God can give our heart rest. And only God is our true treasure, which can give us happiness. And that is why after finding all those things, St. Augustine was bold for God, always bold for God. Before finding God, he was different. He was a sinner. But when he encountered God, then afterwards his life changed. And he was always longing for God. And he discovered his heart was never rest, never in peace, never in harmony. So that is why he found out that his heart was always longing. And he is teaching us that to find happiness, to find rest, proper rest, only we need to find God. And to find God, we need to do sacrifices. We need to give up everything. First of all, we have to give time. Time for prayer, time for coming to encounter Christ in Holy Mass. And the second, not only time, the energy. Energy. We have to give also energy. To pray with all our heart, mind, and soul and strength. Not just prayer for the means to just for namesake or coming Mass for namesake, but attending Mass, participating Mass with full heart, mind, and soul. And that's what we are giving energy to find this treasure for our heart. And our heart is longing only for Christ, so that we may find this Christ and we may go with this Christ and spend 1 week with this Christ. So that our hearts are always get the taste for this treasure. Get the taste for this treasure, so that we may more and more long for this treasure, for Christ, so that in our life we may make our life one goal, one aim, and one path which goes only towards God. Towards God. And if we have God, then we have everything. If we have Christ, then we have everything. Like Solomon he asked wisdom, but he has everything because God gave. And in our life, if we ask only God for our treasure, then God will give us everything. Because in God, everything is there. But if we ask only wealth, then God says, what is the use if you find or win all the world, but if you lose the soul? So if we go in different direction and find all the richness and wealth, but not God, then we are losing not only our life, but our soul. So, my dear brothers and sisters, today God is asking us to ask wisdom. Ask wisdom so that we may long for this treasure who is God, so that in our life we give all our energy, whole everything, so that we may really find always this treasure in our life, so that we may walk with this treasure and towards God, so that the time will come, our heart will really rest in peace. And we will be very happy, because that happiness we are looking for. And it is not only happiness, but eternal happiness. When we find God in our life, then we will be eternally happy, because God is eternally happy. And that happiness will be for us. As God sees that we are His treasure, and we have to see Him as our treasure, so that we may always long for this treasure, so that we may find this treasure and live with this treasure and spend our whole energy and time for this treasure, so that we may more and more mold and saved and be with this treasure who is life, who is peace, who is joy, and who is happiness.